Saturday morning, and it's time for the Experts Program, and we have Luis Alvarez, CEO of the Alvarez Technology Group, joining us. Good morning, Luis.
Good morning, Mark. How are you doing? And I think it's day 8 or 9. I forget exactly how many days it's been.
Oh, it's been a while, but I'm getting by here.
Good.
And hopefully this thing will be able to end soon, but if we have to keep going, we'll soldier on.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, we've talked about the fact that we live in interesting times, and fortunately in an era that we can continue to work largely from home, which is awesome.
Which is great, because what little bit of economy that we have going right now is kind of keeping things somewhat sustained for a lot of people. So, and it's a terrible thing to have to endure, but at least we've got some things that can help make it endurable. One of the things we want to talk about today is data cap relief. How do you get Verizon and AT&T data cap fees waived during the pandemic? Because this is one of the things we've talked about, that with so many people working at home or being at home, they're using the internet a lot more, either for work or for entertainment, what have you, but they're going to be running up against their caps and going over, which can be expensive. So I know both Verizon and AT&T have offered to waive those caps. What's the story on that?
Well, so AT&T has done it automatically. What they've said is that if you subscribe to their data service on your phone, whatever plan you have, it's essentially now unlimited until May.
Okay.
So with AT&T, you don't really have to do anything. Verizon, if you have certain plans, automatically has added 15 gigabytes of additional data.
Okay.
This is a significant amount. Some people have unlimited with Verizon, so they're not impacted. But if you have a prepaid plan, for example, or a smaller data plan, then you just automatically got added 15 gigs. And if you go to your Verizon app on your phone, you'll see that data should be there. And if it's not, you can contact Verizon and have them make sure that it is added to your account.
All right. So are we talking to both home Wi-Fi, DSL, cable modems, or just mobile modems and mobile data?
So this is wireless data from your phone. For folks that, there's not a lot of folks that have Verizon locally for their internet connection at home, but AT&T users also will benefit from unlimited data, no caps, no limits to what they can use, no overages that they'll be charged with their home internet.
I understand that Netflix has some rejiggered things in their system to only offer standard definition on their movies, because with everybody trying to download and stream the movies in high definition, it could crash their network.
Well, actually, they're still doing high def. What they've throttled back is ultra high def, the 4K movies, because they take up a lot of bandwidth. And in certain countries, they have actually throttled down to just standard, like in parts of India, parts of Italy, because they just didn't have the backbone there that they have in the U.S.
Okay.
In the U.S., we can still get high def, which is right now for most of us just fine. But when it comes to 4K, you may be limited in some of the videos that you see at certain times of the day.
Google is offering $340 million in free ads for small businesses as part of their own coronavirus help package. This sounds enticing, but
this is pretty good for if you use social media, if you use Google AdWords and those type of online marketing techniques to build your business and attract customers. For a lot of people, those are expenses that they've had to cut back on as their businesses have been impacted by the slowdown in the economy. So what Google is doing is saying that if you are interested and you already have a Google Ads or one of their other marketing campaigns in place, then you can tap into this $340 million in free ad credits so that you can continue to actively advertise on Google and continue to get some business even in these tough times. Because when the economy slows down, one of the first areas that people cut back on counterintuitively in my thinking is sales and marketing. They look at that as an expense that they need to chop. But the reality is that they need to, if anything, continue what they're doing, if not increase it, because that's how you bring in new business. So this is a way for Google to help these small businesses. It really, in a way, doesn't really cost them anything because those ad credits are going to be used anyway. But it is a sign of goodwill, and it's just another example, like what we were talking about earlier with the wireless carriers, of how tech companies who are really well positioned to get through this situation, because unlike a lot of other companies, for example, Boeing, a lot of manufacturing companies and car companies that spent a lot of their cash to to buy back their stock. Companies like Google and Facebook and HP have spent their money in just building up their cash reserves and investing in R&D. So they're in really good shape when it comes to being able to survive these really interesting times that we're in.
Well, there's the old saying that there's no free lunch. So are there any caveats to this quote-unquote free help from Google?
Not at this point. I think that they're being sincere in trying to do two things, actually. One, they recognize that if people cut back on advertising, then they're going to have a lot of extra capacity that's going to go to waste because you can't use it. You lose it in the online world. And let's be frank, I think they probably can write off this $340 million from whatever their taxable income is at the end of the year. So it's going to benefit them as essentially a donation that will be able to be written off their income at the end of the year. But I do think they are really trying to keep businesses afloat and keep them moving forward as much as possible.
Anything else you want to mention before we go?
Well, we've seen a huge spike in cyber activity and especially phishing and people trying to get you to click on links related to coronavirus and things like that. So my advice, as always, is to be careful about what you get via email, especially today, because these guys now know that with a staff of employees working remotely, the possibility of exploiting vulnerabilities is even greater than before. And so they're very actively trying to target businesses through their remote workers. So stay vigilant. Don't click on anything that you don't recognize. If it doesn't come from a known person, then just delete it and move on.
Sounds good. Great advice from Luis Alvarez, CEO of the Alvarez Technology Group. Online, alvareztg.com, @AlvarezTG. That's the Twitter handle. And Luis, the toll-free number for the I-Team.
Give us a call at 866-78-I-Team. That's 866-784-8326.
Thanks, Luis, and we'll chat again on Monday.
Take care, my friend.